Hasselblad has one of those names, like McLaren or Koenigsegg, Thomas Keller or Yoshihiro Murata, Brioni or Keton. These are luxuries that most people won't ever see and no one actually needs. Hasselblad falls into that category. And there's no denying it. These cameras, especially the 501cm, have refinements that make them a joy to use, and there is a reason that this is one of the most coveted cameras that I've ever reviewed. And if someone gifted me one of these, would I sell my Bronica and have the Hasselblad 501cm as my only 6x6 system? Well, yeah, of course. The Hasselblad is more refined than aircraft titanium, more solid than a granite mountain, and thought out better than a Fort Knox heist. The lengths that this camera goes to deliver quality images without image shake are stunning, and the mechanical complexity required to support that clearly results from many hundreds of thousands, if not millions of hours of engineering refinement over more than half a century. When the user presses the shutter button, the lens's leaf shutter closes, and then the split film back cover opens at the same time that the mirror inside the camera flips up. The leaf shutter then opens for the specified duration of the exposure and then closes again and remains closed. Now, not until the user releases the shutter button does the split door in front of the film reclose and then the mirror flip back down, and then the leaf shutter prepare to be rearmed by the film advance. That's three complex shutter-like or actual shutter actions occurring at once with precision timing and in a mandatory sequence. Now, this isn't rocket science, it's camera science, and it's a whole lot more intense. And because of that, the user gets the advantages of a leaf shutter, which are shake reduction and flash sync at any speeds, with the benefits of an SLR, primarily that the image is framed in the viewfinder and will appear on the film as it does in the viewfinder. The Zeiss T-Star lens that came as this camera's kit lens did not disappoint in general. I found the focus to be slightly off wide open at close focus, but that could also have been moving hands or subjects. The color quality on the images with this lens may be the best that I've ever seen from any lens I've used. I did not care for the lens's propensity to flare in situations that I would not expect other makers' lenses of the same age to flare in. Honestly, this lens's flare was on par with lenses about 40 years this lens's senior. Backing the lens is seriously the nicest focusing screen I've ever seen. The acute matte screens designed by Minolta for Hasselblad have even, consistent lighting with no light drop off to the edges. No other 6x6 SLR can say that. The size and focusing screen quality makes focusing with this camera an absolute joy. But let's talk about the elephant in the room, which is money and relative value. Now, a couple towns over, there's this burger joint called The Counter. It's a regional chain with the best, or very nearly the best, burgers that I've ever had, and they better be damn good because they cost about $15 each. Now, there are other 6x6 SLRs. Some common ones with the same form factor as the Hasselblad include the Kiev or Arax 88, the Zenza Bronicas, and the Raleigh and Salute. In different form factors, there are even more options for 6x6 photography. But let's focus on the Hasselblad form. Now, I checked out how much the exact Hasselblad kit I was loaned sells for and consistently came up with cameras in about the $3,500 range. My near mint black Bronica S2 cost me $209, but they typically run about $400. A Kiev 88 can be had for around $250 right now. So for the price of one Hasselblad 501cm in pristine condition, one could purchase between 9 and 18 similar, admittedly older cameras from other makers. So even if a user broke one Bronica or Kiev per year, that's between 1 and 2 decades worth of cameras before making up the cost of the Hasselblad, and frankly neither the Zenza nor the Kiev will break at a rate that's anywhere near one per year. A Bronica is an expensive camera at $400. A Hamburger is expensive at $15. Would I pay $15 for a great hamburger? Sure. Would I pay $135 to $270 for a similar hamburger, which is between 9 and 18 times the cost of the expensive hamburger? No. No, I would not. Not even if Thomas Keller made it, and it came dressed in a miniature Brioni suit hand-fed to me by Emily Ratajkowski inside a McLaren. The Hasselblad? That's a $270 hamburger. Now, I get the Hasselblad fetish within the photography community because I really loved using this camera. But having used multiple Hasselblads and a Bronica, the simple fact is that the 501cm costs way more than any other camera like it that will work just as well. I can't suggest that anyone run out and spend their money on one of these. I mean, unless you're an oil sheik or a professional photographer who seriously needs a tax write-off. Now, I know the very good point you'll make here. The 501cm is a camera that's about 10 years old, so it will of course be more expensive. It's an unfair comparison to say how much more expensive the Hasselblad is than older SLRs from other makers. The 501cm, however, simply has no similar contemporary and, honestly, no real equal.